But for all you cricket lovers, well, the Indian Premium League will be getting underway later this evening with the Royal Challengers Bangalore facing off against the defending champions, the Chennai Super Kings in Chennai. The match will begin at around 8 p.m. today. But Mangalam's here to decode the business of IPL with some interesting data as always. Mangalam, take it away.
Well, we're all set to kickstart the IPL 2024. But before that, let's put some numbers from 2023, the last season, in perspective. The last IPL saw nearly 500 million viewers watching over 43,000 crore minutes of content, with the finals seeing nearly 6.5 crore people watch together. For most of the games, there were about 3 crore peak concurrent viewers online itself. And that wasn't all. For TV as well, the growth was 32% in ratings. As we move to the business of the IPL, let's understand from a franchise owner's perspective. So this would probably look like an income statement of a franchise owner. The franchise fee, which is about 20% of revenue for old franchises, and fixed fee for new ones, is an expense for them. Players' fee, along with operating expenses, are the key cost heads. Whereas share of revenue coming in from the central revenue pool, central media rights, sponsors, and some ancillary revenue coming in from gate sales, ground ads and merchandise are the key income heads for a franchise owner. Of the central revenue pool that accrues to the BCCI, 50% is retained by them and the other 50% is distributed among the teams. What is the annual income for the BCCI through the IPL? It's roughly 5,000 crores, which comes in through media rights, about 1,350 crores, which comes in from franchise fees, and title sponsors, which give in close to around 500 crores. The BCCI keeps 50% of that, and the remaining 50%, like I said, is distributed to the teams. How do the actual numbers look? Last year's champions, Chennai Super Kings, made a revenue of close to 273 crores and an EBITDA of 65 crores as well. And now we have the list of their revenue sources and income heads. This is from the CSK annual report. Player fees were close to around 92 crores, franchise fee 50 crores, tournament expenses of around 40 crores, for which they got revenues of close to 200 crores from the central piece and sponsorship revenue of roughly 80 crores. But here's the game changer, the valuations. The valuation of some teams has grown to over 20-25 times since the beginning of the IPL in 2008, and the IPL itself has become a decacorn, which is basically over $10 billion in terms of valuation as per Duff & Phelps. So the question then is, from an investment standpoint, what are the listed plays here? Well, we have United Spirits that owns the RCB, Sun TV that owns the Hyderabad Sunrisers, and the RPSG Group's Lucknow Super Giants is partially held by RPSG Ventures. So as a percentage of market cap, the valuation for United Spirits or RCB is about 15%, for Sun TV is about 35%, and for RPSG Ventures is about 150%. But of course, there is a lot of valuation discount or holding company discount that will play out as well. So that's the business of the IPL. Now that you know about it, sit back, relax, and enjoy the games.
All right, Mangalam, thanks a lot for that. And come back here and, let's have a couple of guests who join us on the show right now. Karan Turani of Elara Capital, as well as Vineet Karnik of Group M joins us on the show. Hi, good morning, gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining in. Karan, let me come across to you first. Two-part question. Who are you betting on, first of all? Who do you think is going to lift the trophy this time around? And then, since it's market hours and we're tracking the markets, tell us who are the key beneficiaries.
So I think I'm betting on CSK. I'm a very big CSK fan. I think this year, again, they'll emerge champions. So, yeah, and secondly, in terms of the market impact, I think, as Mangalam pointed out, that, all of these companies have got a listed parent associated to them. And in terms of potential delta, I think, Sun TV is the biggest delta here. Close to 1/3 of their market cap is coming from the IPL valuations. So I think this year, rather FY24, we are going to see a turnaround in terms of IPL revenues for all the teams because of media rights, right? So last year was the first year when, IPL operated after the renewal of media rights. If you look at the overall rights value, that went up by 3x. And if you remove including the number of new matches that were added in this fresh cycle, the actual value has gone up by about 2.5 times. So most companies are going to report a growth of, about 2 to 2.5 times on their IPL revenue, because almost about 80% of the team's revenue was because of media rights, which has seen a surge after this new cycle which is coming.
All right, Karan. So hang in there because also with us is Vineet Karnik, who's the executive director at Group M and the author of Sporting Nation, the final word on the sports market in India for the last 11 or 12 years. Vineet, thank you for joining in. So let's talk about numbers itself. Karan said that 80% of the revenue is coming from media itself. So what are the expected numbers for IPL 2024? What's the kind of growth that you're expecting over last year?
Yeah, so it's a very, very forward-looking and an optimistic 2024 from an IPL's perspective, okay? Because we have seen a very, very constant growth within the IPL ecosystem from a commercial standpoint. So 2024 is not going to be any different. We're very, very optimistic about the growth in 2024 as well. Just to put this into perspective, we have already seen a great amount of thrust on the central sponsorships already, okay? So in our estimation in 24, the central sponsorship pie itself will grow around 20%, okay? And 20% on a very already high base, okay? Because we have seen Tata's putting 500 crores on table for title sponsorship. We have seen the OPs, which is the central sponsors going up significantly. So there is a significant increase in sponsorship interest from a central sponsor point of view. From a team perspective, I think we expect a growth of about 15%, and that's been a very steady growth year on year. 12 to 15% is what it varies. In 24, we expect a 15% growth in team sponsorships as well. So that's a very encouraging sign, and looking forward to a cracker of a season starting.
Hi Vineet, good to have you on the show. Well, WPL just got over. What was the response like when it came to numbers? If you could help us out on that front.
Yeah, absolutely. So WPL, great initiative again. I think the fans have really embraced it last year. And this year, we definitely saw a decent growth in advertising as well. We estimate in 2024, while we are still doing the numbers because the season just got over last week. But we definitely expect a steady growth of about 10 to 12% in WPL this year. More importantly, what's notable in WPL is the kind of support WPL got in terms of the on-ground, fans wanting to go and watch the matches in the stadium. You saw most of the matches. Look at the finals. Most of the matches you had more than 50 to 60% capacity in the stadium. So that's very encouraging. And in the world of sports, what we believe, if you have got seats in the stadium, I think you will have definitely more audience watching it on TV and on OTT. So that's very encouraging. And obviously it comes on the back of a very, very strong Indian team in terms of our women cricketers. They have done exceedingly well in terms of the global circuit. They have been world beaters and they have played fantastic cricket over the last season.
Indeed, fantastic cricket. I was heartbroken because Mumbai Indians, the women's team, could not proceed to the finals. But then we had RCB do what the men's team didn't do. They went ahead and won the WPL itself. But Karan, coming back to you now, you did speak about a lot of these listed parents that are there, which are limited just to 3 teams right now, 2.5 teams, so to say. But from the entire IPL, there should be beneficiaries like QSRs, some of these beverage companies. It's summer season. You would see Zomato as well as a beneficiary. Could you quantify the kind of benefits that one can expect?
Yes, of course. So if you look at the QSR and the Alcobev companies, they will have a strong quarter. But I think, IPL is something which is there every year. But this time we've got the T20 World Cup in the month of June. And if you look at the matches, again, they are, the timing is very favorable at about 8 p.m. is when they start. So definitely, Zomato will be a big beneficiary here. In terms of the order volume and the traffic, and also the beer segment within the Alcobev segment, because people go on premise and, consume drinks as well. So I think these two are going to be the beneficiaries here. But IPL is an every year phenomena. So no such big delta, from IPL, because this quarter we also have the elections. And because of that, we'll have dry days and, movement will be restricted because of that as well.
Karan, you gave us the valuation of Sun TV, Sunrisers as a percentage, I think, of Sun TV's market cap. I think you said a third, right?
Yes, right.
And for United Spirits, RCB, what is that comparison right now?
So that's about 12 to 14% for United Spirits RCB. So I think most of these IPL teams, as I said, they were doing a revenue of about 250 to 300 crores, which potentially in FY24 will move towards 500 to 600 crores because of the media rights. And the EBITDA margins are also very strong for all these teams. They make close to about 50% plus EBITDA margin. So it's going to be a big positive impact in terms of, PAT for all these companies.
All right, let's bring Vineet back in. Vineet, you said that 80% of the revenues for the business still comes from broadcast and sponsorship itself, but a small but fast-growing revenue pie is the ones that these teams make from their digital media and merchandise sales as well. What kind of numbers could you target for this in this year?
Okay, so as I said, ancillary revenues in terms of the digital channels of some of the teams has been very encouraging. I would so they're not very, very significant if you compare that with the sponsorship revenues, but I think merchandise and digital media put together would be about 5% at this point in time and growing. Yeah, so that's an encouraging sign. Merchandising, mind you, has not been a great trend in India. As we started the IPL in 2008, but over a period of time, I think we have cracked that code, and through some of the e-commerce initiatives, I think we are doing fairly well.
All right, with that, let's wrap it up. What was the size of the sports business in 2023, Vineet, and what do you expect it to be in 2024?
So 23, we have seen a growth of about 11%. It has grown from 14,000 odd crores to about 15,766 crores. And now we can't say that we have a low base. It's on a decent size of a base, right? So that's very encouraging. I mean, in fact, just to put things in perspective, the sports industry has grown at a CAGR of 13.3% from 2008 onwards consistently. Okay, so in 2008, this business was size of about 2,400 crores, and today it's 15,766 crores. That's a huge incremental that we have seen over the last 16, 17 years.
All right, Vineet, thank you for putting those numbers into perspective. Karan, thank you for joining in and putting the listed space into perspective as well. You are a CSK fan. I'm a Dhoni fan. Yesterday was an end of an era with Dhoni stepping down of CSK as the captain. Nigel, I'm gunning for Mumbai Indians. What about you?
I'm a loyalist. Mumbai Indians for sure.
All right. On that note, we'll both shout Mumbai, Mumbai and wrap up on this edition of Bazaar. Chartbusters comes out next. Stay tuned.